Hey guys, Coach Jules here. So I'm here to discuss with you the direction of the next training block or training phase for HomeCon Plus. This will start tomorrow, which is Monday, and it will span for the next 3 weeks again. So before I start, we're gonna kind of organize things by starting off with directions for the following categories. So the categories will be direction of the strength segments, the skill or skill acquisition segments, the conditioning, and accessory. So we're gonna talk about that first aspect, which is gonna be the strength. So the strength direction for this next phase will have two parts. The upper body strength segment will focus a lot on horizontal pressing. But why horizontal pressing? Just because in a lot of the movements that we do, shoulder to overhead, strict press, push press, all of the pressing is actually geared upwards, so vertical press. We rarely touch this way or this direction of pressing, which is only probably covered in bench press, burpees, and push-ups. So we're gonna touch on that, develop that type of range or that type of strength. So we're gonna incorporate a lot of push-ups. We're gonna incorporate forms of like a bench press or different forms of floor presses. With that being said, we're gonna start off with a benchmarking segment, which starts tomorrow, which is gonna be max reps push-ups for 4 minutes, right? So you're gonna record your score there, and then we're gonna run through the cycle, do all of the strength work geared towards developing that aspect, and then we're gonna retest again come the next training phase or training block, which is 3 or 4 weeks from now. So hopefully by then, all our work has paid off and we've gotten stronger, we've created some adaptation in the body, and we've improved. So please keep track of that. Right now, for the lower body strengthening, we're gonna find a nice balance between hinging and of course squatting. You'll see a lot of the strength movements that we're gonna do will be really about unilateral work, one-sided work, single leg variations, and we'll implement a lot of tempos as well. Okay, so why are we doing this? We've realized that we do have limited equipment and we can't really expose ourselves to heavy loads such as like a heavy back squat, heavy deadlift. And the best way to kind of work around that is to add complexity into movements by going unilateral, adding pauses, adding tempos, just so that we get some favorable adaptation or strength adaptation or hypertrophy adaptation given that equipment limitation. So that's why you'll see a lot of that there, guys. So please try to familiarize yourselves with the tempo and how to read it. It's gonna be all over the place. It's gonna be a nice kind of shift of gears as well, as compared to like how we always get the reps as fast as possible. This time we're gonna go for a more controlled setting. We'll include some basic form of plyometrics. So again, with our form of exercise or form of training, requires us to really be athletes that can create a high level of power output, meaning us being able to move heavy loads, long distances on the short amounts of time, right? So if you kind of go back to the equation, force times distance over time or force times velocity, a lot of our weightlifting strength cycles, back squat cycles are geared more towards the force end, so force dominant training. And we kind of neglect the velocity side of the equation, which is really practiced through lighter loads. So velocity, we're gonna implement here the plyometric aspect, which is gonna be broad jumps, vertical jumps, all kinds of jumps. Basically, it's gonna teach us on how to recruit our muscle fibers quickly at a fast rate to produce a lot of force. Okay, so we're gonna touch on that as well. Don't worry, it's not gonna be complex, and it's not also gonna be tedious. We're just gonna have just a few jumps at the start of every session after each warm-up. We're gonna include the plyometrics twice a week. So nothing too fancy. It's literally just you jumping as high as you can or jumping as far as you can. And then we'll just have some nuances there and add some maybe weights in the future, some light weights. So it's something I've been reading about, something that can kind of bridge the gap into maximizing the power output of our athletes. Second, skill work, right? So we do have a targeted skill in every phase. So the first skill I wanted to target for this phase would be rope work. So double under, single under. I know a lot of times we kind of just go with the flow and unlock our double unders inside a Metcon and just say, yay, we got it, right? But practicing skills in a Metcon or high intensity type setting is really gonna be an inefficient way to actually acquiring the skill. So we're gonna kind of segregate it out to the side, put it in a controlled setting, no fatigue, and then do some drills there, right? By doing that, it'll kind of fast track our way to mastery and ownership of movement. So we're gonna practice on double under and single under drills. So I'm gonna give some drills that will accommodate athletes of all levels, from the beginners all the way to advanced athletes. So I'm gonna make sure that you guys are challenged, no matter what level you are, right? So the cool thing is also Tuesday will be the skill day. Tuesday will be the skill day, so it's gonna be a week by week thing. So we can also aim for progress week on a week by week basis, meaning we can accumulate more reps, or you can see how you guys go and actually work on your previous work. Okay. From the previous training phase, we did touch on the pistols, right? So we did segregate that into a controlled environment. Now you will see the pistol come up in a Metcon setting. So we're gonna layer on intensity, some complexity there, movement interference from other lifts, and we'll see how you guys can perform in the pistols. Okay, so don't worry guys, if you don't have pistols, it's not required. We can always find a good skill for you. But guys who do have pistols, mastery of the movement is really shown if you can demonstrate it in chaos or movement interference or high intensity settings. So that's how you know you own the movement, because a lot of athletes can actually do a skill when they're pretty fresh, but once they're fatigued, it's a different story, right? So that's gonna be the gist of the skill segments. We're gonna do rope work, and then we're gonna hit those pistols on some Metcons. On our conditioning pieces, what's gonna be the direction? It's just gonna be the concept of balance, guys. A lot of the durations will be just moderate durations, meaning from 8 to 12 minutes, somewhere around there. You'll see a lot of couplets, because I do love couplets. Triplets, not as free. Maybe triplets will be there as well, and the chippers, but I do like my couplets. Okay, so you will see a lot of the couplets in your training, right? So with the Metcons, the way I kind of design the Metcons is more about balance, meaning if the strength portion entails you to do like some form of hinging, expect to do a counter for the Metcon. So if deadlift is the strength, expect like a squat or a knee flexion type movement for the conditioning piece. Same goes with the upper body. If it's more pulling for the strength, expect to see some push there. Okay, so I do that just so that we don't overwork certain muscle groups, and then we can actually keep the intensity high even in the conditioning pieces, right? Lastly, accessory work. The accessory work will be more or less optional, just because for the sake of time, because some sessions may take a while, maybe exceed more than an hour. So if you find that the way you execute the session it takes a bit more than an hour, the accessory work can just be optional. You can remove it just if you're pressed by time. For the athletes who have time to do the accessory work, feel free to do that. I mean, you'll get a lot of benefit there, because accessory work is mainly isolation work, bringing up those weaker muscles, bringing them up to speed so that it transfers to our main lifts. At the same time, it keeps us injury free. So accessory work, most of it will be optional, but then there will be some mandatory ones. So how often are we going to do accessory work? We are going to do it maybe 3 or 4 times a week. So I covered the aspects there. So that was strength, skill, Metcon, accessory. So just to kind of go for a broader perspective, strength, we're going to focus on horizontal pressing, add a bit of plyometrics, go for tempos and unilateral work on hinging and squatting or knee flexion based movements. For the skill, we're going to go for rope work, so single under, double under drills, isolated, and then pistols will be seen in the Metcon at some point. Conditioning, moderate duration, couplets, and accessory layered on. Okay, so how do you want to approach training? Or what the recommendation is going to be 3 days on, 1 day full rest, or 1 day active rest, and then 2 days on, and then 1 day full rest, which is going to be the Sunday. So the first 3 days will be more of like an high intensity workout. Thursday will be more of an active rest. So what is going to be active rest? More geared towards accessory work, more of an active mobilization type, holding certain positions, more gymnastics based, nothing too taxing, low volume, low intensity as well, but good mover, good recovery piece to kind of create blood flow in the body and also hit good ranges of motion so that we don't lose the range of motion as well. So after Thursday, Friday, Saturday will be more intense pieces again, more intense sessions, and then Sunday full rest. Okay, so that's the rundown of how the next phase is going to be. Sorry if this video is super long, 10 minutes. Oh my gosh, I see this. But yeah, I mean, if you have any questions on my programming style or how to execute some of the movements or any questions in programming rather, you can always ask me, or you can always ask your coach. The coach will be knowledgeable and will be able to help you out there as well. All right. So thank you guys. Hope you enjoy, and let's get those gains.